Okay, those are my 2. And now Heathen Dog's going to regale us with 3.
That's right.
Maybe. It's been almost an hour already.
An hour on you. Well, I got my...
Do you want me to show? Do you want me to show, or do you want to show?
I already got it up.
Okay.
Boom.
Oh, you're gonna start with the orc?
We're gonna start with the orc. Now, I'm gonna do a little spoiler on this one right off the bat. There is a reason why orcs are not demi-humans, why they are considered monsters, and it's in the description.
No,
we're gonna get to
racist.
it. No, we're gonna get to it, and we'll do it now. Unlike a lot of the other monsters, these are actually intelligent. 8 to 9 is your average orc. Little dumber than a human, but not a whole lot. Not a lot dumber, just a little bit. They can be found anywhere. They are common where they are found. They are common. Okay, so it'll say later they love to set up camp near humans.
One of the reasons that they're common is it makes it easy for them to be an antagonist too.
Yes, yes, and they are an antagonist, especially to humans. We're gonna get to that. Night cycle. They have their activity cycle is night, and there is a reason for this. This is how they hunt. Again, when we get to, we're gonna get it. They are carnivores.
Do you? I got to ask a question on that one. Do you? So their activity cycle is night. Do you usually only have them confronted at night? Because I got to tell you, even me, either I made a mistake on that one. I don't use orcs a lot, though, to be fair. It's almost always during the day.
No, mine's always at night or underground.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because that's where they would stay because of their natural abilities.
Shadzar said it right.
What? There it is. Yep, that's it. Now check out the number of appearing. You are not going to run into a random orc. That doesn't happen. The minimum number of orcs you're going to find is 30. That is a small raiding party. They are going to or from killing folk.
Oh, you don't have to read that. I'm just popping on the screen for others.
Okay. No, there's another reason. So, yeah, it's not possible to just fall upon a couple of orcs and have them be doing nothing. All right, 30 orcs together are doing something, and it's probably bad.
And if you look one line above that, alignment, lawful evil says they're organized.
Yes, yes, they are. They have rules. They have structure. It's survival of the fittest time, but it's still they have a society. They're not monsters in the truest sense, but they're not demi-humans either. But we're gonna get to that. Armor class is 6 or 10, depending on because they do wear armor. They do wear armor. All right. So if you find them unarmored, like you go into the den, you find women and children, they're gonna be armor class 10. Movement 9 or 12. Again, I'm not exactly certain why the movement has changed. Because they are 6 feet tall, so they are considered a medium size, so they would have a movement rate of 12.
So, well, 9 is slower than a human, but faster than a halfling.
Yeah.
And 12 is base human. It's in parentheses. I'm trying to see if there's something on there. It's probably in the description then.
It probably is in the description, but I didn't find it initially. Hit dice 1. They're not overly strong. Thaco of 19. Well, with a hit dice of 1, that's normal stuff. A number of attacks 1, and it's by weapon. They use weapons. Now, it's usually crappy weapons, like stone axes or clubs or whatever. But they can use steel weapons that they've killed, that they've eluded from folks they've killed, and there you go. They have no special attacks, special defenses, or magic resistance. They are sluggers. You know, they're your normal run of the mill. What you see is what you get monster. All right. Their morale is steady because, like I said, they are thinking, and there's a lot of them all the time. So,
and they're organized.
Yeah, they are organized. So their morale is good because there's a lot of them and they know how to fight effectively. And there's XP value. There's all different kinds. If the more you encounter, the more chances you have for a sub chief, a guard, a shaman, if you're fighting 30, you might only find one leader. All right, but if you're fighting 300, you're gonna have several sub chiefs, some guards, bodyguards, and shamans. It's gonna be a mixture. So get ready for that. Now, the very first thing right here. Here we go. Orcs are a species of aggressive mammalian carnivores that band together in tribes to survive by hunting and raiding. Orcs believe that in order to survive, they must expand their territory. So they are constantly involved in war against many enemies: humans, elves, dwarves, goblins, and other orc tribes. Now,
I have to interrupt you here for just one moment.
Go ahead.
When I did my video a couple years ago on demi-humans or not humans, on racism versus speciesism, so forth, long before this crap came up, I've always felt that it should be called species, but I have my own reasons for it, not because it's offensive or whatever. What you said there is exactly what I used as impetus for why there's always conflict between orcs and humans and so forth. And orcs would be damn near suicidal over the fact that they must expand because it's intrinsic, it's genetically inbred into them. Inbred, I like that. The fact that they need to expand. They're failures if they don't expand. And this is expanded upon even in the Humanoids Handbook. What, you let them play humans? No, but it does expands on this topic. Okay. They must fight. They must expand.
That is their instinctual impetus, and the reason being, okay, and the reason being is because they cannot form a stable society. Now, if you look at all of the demi-human races, they all have one thing in common: they eat vegetables. Elves, maybe exclusively, some elves exclusively eat vegetables, but humans are omnivorous. Dwarves, even ogres are even ogres, I believe, eat vegetables. They have to constantly fight because they have to eat meat. They are monsters because of
obligate
that.
Carnivores, just like cats.
Yes, they are monsters because of that. They cannot form a completely stable society because they cannot be an agrarian culture. They can't. They are not demi-humans because they could not survive on their own. They need to eat other people, and they love eating humans.
I thought it was elves that they loved to eat.
Oh no, they love eating humans. Humans. Oh no, that's the troglodyte. I'm sorry. Yeah, they really hate other races, but some in particular. We'll go to that.
I'm not going to show it now, but when you're done with this, I'm going to show the first edition picture. I was going to show it out of the book, but Shadzar gave a bigger version of it that I can show you how they looked in first edition.
Okay. Now, how they fight. Here you go. Sword and flail, sword and spear, axe and polearm. This is all stuff that they either crudely made themselves or took off of the last raiding, the last actual demi-humans that they killed and now use for their own. They are a force to be reckoned with. They fight to live. They're good at it. They use tactics. They're not stupid. No.
I get what you're saying.
I say they're not stupid in combat is because you don't have to be smart to be trained.
Right.
They are trained. Even a dumbass can be grilled over and over again in tactics to seem intelligent. He's not actually making intelligent decisions. He's just going down a goddamn flowchart. Doesn't matter. These guys are trained, so they're going to be effective. They're going to work like an actual raiding party. They're going to work like a paramilitary unit. They are not going to be a pushover, especially in numbers around 100.
But game mechanics say they only have a THAC 19 and one hit die.
Hey, you know what? Every army has grunts. All right, that's what happens. Sorry. The more it's right up here. The more that you encounter, the more chance you have to have chiefs, bodyguards, shamans up to 5th level, and
goblins do the same thing.
Bonuses for that later on. But let's see. If a sub chief is present, that's if you have probably between 40 and 50. There's going to be a sub chief. there's a 40% chance the orcs will be fighting around a standard. So, the little flag or whatever, whatever.
Probably human skin flailing.
Yeah, probably made of human or dwarf skin, whatever. The presence of this standard increases attack rolls and morale by +1 for all orcs within 60 yards. Now their THAC0 is 18. That's trouble. Orcs typically wear studded leather armor and a shield, which gives them armor class 6. Orcs hate direct sunlight. This is why I said at nighttime or underground is when I usually make them appear.
I have been playing orcs wrong.
Yeah, because they fight at a -1 penalty to their attack rolls in sunlight. Sunlight doesn't damage them. It just pisses them off and it blinds them to somewhat. Their morale decreases by 1 under these circumstances as well. They hate it. They want to leave. So they'll be a lot easier to convince to leave if they're in sunlight. They have a historic enmity against elves and dwarves. Many tribes will kill demi-humans on sight. Elves and dwarves, they hate them. Why? Probably because that the elves and dwarves have been historically roadblocks to their ever-expanding idea of civilization.
Or just because they're elves and dwarves. Why not?
And they don't like sunlight, so they end up underground a lot, so they end up butting heads with dwarves a lot. That could be it.
Well, they do try to get, they make crude mines and, minerals and so forth. So.
Okay. Often believe that orcs are so bloodthirsty and cruel that they are ineffective tacticians, and that would rather be vicious than victorious. Like most stereotypes, this is highly misleading. I hate that sentence because it doesn't make sense. Because the very next one is, it is true for some, but not for all. Well, that's a stereotype, right? I mean, you take the average and there are outliers. But I consider this to be the most outlier because the way the book has set it up so far, they are a loose paramilitary unit. So I'm going to say that they have tactics. It won't be awesome tactics, but they will use tactics all the time.
I don't know. That last sentence there, many orc tribes have waged wars for decades and have developed a frightening efficiency with battle tactics.
I mean, it depends on the size of the orc empire. If they have a huge empire, they've been fighting for a long time and probably do it better than the smaller villages of orcs.
One of the things I need to jump in again, Shadzar is posting a lot of information. I'm not putting it all up on the screen, but you can read it in chat. We're doing second edition because both Heathen Dog and I are much more versed with second edition than first edition. This is not anything to say that first edition is wrong, but much more versed with second edition, and because second edition expands upon the races, each one of the races we're talking about, and does it in a proper way. It doesn't try to make them humans with just greener skin or something. We're going to utilize this information because there's more of it there that's still canon.
But Habitat Society. For every 3 orcs encountered, there will be a leader and 3 assistants. These orcs will have 8 hit points each. Now this goes up. The leader is going to have these amps. The sub chief is going to have this amp. The chief is going to have this amp. So for the more you encounter at once, the more likely you are going to face something that's bigger and badder than your normal, armor class 6, THAC0 19, grunt ass orc.
You got witch doctors and
so
they
got shamans and witch doctors and shit. And these things are no joke, especially in numbers. Orc lairs are underground 75% of the time because they hate light. That's not a shocker. This is not a shocker. And Shadzar is right. The other 25% of the time is not going to be in the plains or fields. It's going to be in a dense forest where sunlight has trouble reaching. All right. Hence the elf problem that they see.
Why don't they just wear sunglasses?
They're not demi-human races. They're not cool like that. The orc communities range from small forts with 100 to 400 orcs to mining communities with 500 to 2,000 orcs to huge cities, partially underground and partially above ground, with 2,000 to 20,000 orcs. These are the very, very successful orcs. I would not want to fight these guys even in small numbers because their tactics are sound.
When done correctly, and yes, I said correctly, this is an opinion, this is fact, an army of 5,000 orcs versus an army of 5,000 men should be a win for the orcs.
During the night.
Well, during the night, well, right. I mean, that's the orcs aren't going to fight fair anyway. I think it says it in there somewhere that they don't follow the Geneva Convention, all that other shit. They don't parlay. But but also each individual orc is technically stronger than the average soldier. Where men and elves and so forth win is number one, the orcs are fighting them on their home ground. Okay, that's number one. And if you know anything about war will always tell you 6-1. If you want to win, you need to have 6-1 odds versus the defender. Now you can do 3-1, but 6-1 is like the Goldilocks zone. That's number one. Number two, orcs don't wear a lot of armor. So when they're fighting against cavalry, orcs don't stand up to war horses that are in pure formation. Crazed orcs running into a phalanx. Sorry, but the orcs lose on that one on a 1-1. However, that's not how orcs fight. Don't have orcs fight like they're medieval soldiers.
No, they will fight to what is to best their advantage. They are tactical, and they fight all. They are professional soldiers. Okay, you can give a farmer a good set of armor and a really, really nice magic sword, +1 magic sword, and he can have an armor class of 6 and an effective Thaco of 19. He's still going to lose to the orcs because the orcs are professional soldiers. He's a professional farmer. Tactics will win the day. Now, orcs are aggressive. They believe other species are inferior to them and that bullying and slavery is part of the natural order. They will cooperate with other species but are not dependable. As slaves, they will rebel against all but the most powerful of masters. Orcs believe that battle is the ideal challenge, but some leaders are pragmatic enough to recognize the value of peace, which they exact at a high price.
That is the intelligent orc.
Orc tribes can be effective trading partners and military allies. I would not. That last sentence is bullshit, because the first all of it, the rest of that paragraph is like, you can't trust them because they are untrustworthy. They will do whatever is best for them, no matter what.
Sometimes you have to make a deal with the devil in order to go forward. Just know that the devil is going to get its due. Yeah, the devil's going to, the orcs are going to stab you in the back sooner or later. It's going to happen. Might even tell you.
Care about you. You are inferior.
One of the things that I said in my species video was pretty much that. It's like, you should be afraid of the intelligent orc. You should be afraid of the orc. It's like, all right, no, you know what? I think we're going to back off for a minute. Wait, what? You shouldn't go, oh, see, they're reasonable people. No, they're not. No, they're not. They are monsters for a reason. They believe other species are inferior to them, and bullying and slavery is part of the natural order. So the thing about losing to the orcs isn't about getting killed. It's also about being turned into a slave. Going back to the underground orc city and mining until you're dead. There you go. Have fun with that. Damn. Orcs suck. All right. Orcs when used
on average
properly
have a lifespan of 40 years and a gestation period of 10 months. Okay. And produce 2 or 3 offspring at birth.
So litters.
Yeah, they have litters, basically. Infant mortality is high. No shit. They live in a cave. Orcs are carnivores, but prefer game meats or livestock to demi-humans and humanoids. The problem with that is they can't farm, so they can't raise their own livestock. So they constantly have to keep fighting to replenish their meat supply. They can't do it themselves.
I don't know if they fully can't, do animal husbandry, but
how? What are they going to feed the animals?
Well, I mean, does it actually say in there that they cannot find hay or grass anywhere?
No, but for a large enough society, just hay and grass.
Oh yeah,
is not going to feed.
I fully agree. It'd mostly be raiding. I fully agree, but I mean,
be raiding because
you can still have pens and farms.
They can't eat vegetables. They would go through too much livestock just to meet the basic needs. They can't supplement with potatoes or carrots or whatever to fill everybody up. Yeah, they have to eat just meat. And because they could not grow enough food to feed that many animals to be self-sustaining, they have to raid. That's why they're not a society. That's why they're not a demi-human race. It's why they're monsters.
No, I do agree that most would be raiding, but I mean, I could still see like an orc village having some penned-in animals and so forth. I'm not talking like they're not raising the best cattle on the land for sale. Just,
no, that penned-in area would be the pre-slaughter zone.
Actually, this is a good point.
What grazing lands would require someone to watch and be in sunlight. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Yes, because cows and shit, they're active during the day and they need to be outside during that time. So yeah, that's bad. So and any pens they have would be the right outside the slaughterhouse pens.
Right. And just for everybody who's chatting, I'm not saying that they would grow farms. I'm just saying that they could have grazing land, depending if they had horses. I mean, look, I'm sure they eat horses too.
Which means they're growing cows for somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or they're just growing cows there for a moment as they move forward.
Yeah, because
they're going to the next raid.
It is said that orcs have no natural enemies, but they work hard to make up for this. Orc tribes have fearsome names such as Vile Rune, Bloody Head, Broken Bone, Evil Eye, and Dripping Blade. Yeah, they have no natural predator. There is no natural foil to orcs except themselves. Because of their need to keep expanding, to keep fighting everything and everyone around them, they can easily get the enmity of 3 different nations at one time if they're expanding in the wrong area.
And at first they would think that's awesome.
Yeah, at first they would think it's great because more fighting, but 3 fronts at once is not a good idea. And they will eventually lose. So basically their natural enemy is their nature. That is why orcs don't proliferate everywhere, because they keep foiling themselves by eventually getting into too many fights at once. And then we have the offshoots, the orogs and half orcs. Apparently any race can breed with an orc except elves to make a half orc, which is horribly disgusting.
I don't believe in half anything.
Half elves are too ingrained. Sorry, you have to believe in them. Yeah,
they don't exist in my world. Well, they do. They kind of do.
They have to.
They're sterile.
That's fine. That's fine. But okay, that's the orc.
Okay, I'm going to show this picture real quickly.
All right, go for it.
Oops, I can't. I'll have to do it this way.
I can remove mine.
It's going to look bad, but
okay.
See if I can zoom in on that. Nope, that's
a
vertical.
Precision?
Yeah, it's about as good as you're going to get. It's a vertical monitor.
Got it.
So anyway, yeah, you look at the pig faces. That's how
little pig boy, little pig boy. So yeah, that's the orc. It had maybe someday, 1,000 years, 5,000 years, 10,000 years from now, genetically it will become able to be a demi-human race. It'll stop its wanton need for aggression and be able to eat vegetables. And
we'll call that game Earth Dawn.
There you go. And it'll get rid of that sunlight thing. It only has a -1, so every other monster that has an aversion to sunlight has more minuses than
it's usually -2, yeah.
Yeah, so it could be that they're genetically getting rid of that,
or it's just like it's a glare or something. I mean,
they're getting closer to demi-human status.
I forget. Did it say that they had infravision or dark vision, or what do they got? Infravision or night vision?
It didn't say they did. The troglodytes do. Spoiler, but it didn't say that they had that.
That's weird. It's weird that they have a penalty but don't get the opposite bonus. I don't use orcs a lot. I don't know. I find them a little too cliche even for me.
I understand.